Good afternoon. It's really nice to be here and to be able to speak to you about the Unique Among Cancers report, the State of the Nation review, which we undertook. Well, it was published just in June, but it was really a project for over a year in the making. And I want to really tell you, first of all, what it is, what the State of the Nation review is, how we conducted it, what we found, and then finally what we're kind of doing with those findings to help people affected by sarcoma and to help Sarcoma UK as well. So the first question is why a State of the Nation review? What is it? Well, we'd had evidence, I think, from a lot of people, both on the support line in Sarcoma UK surveys, and also I think from healthcare professionals that there were sustained and significant issues across a range of areas in sarcoma care. And so we decided to undertake this report really to try and understand what those issues were, how they were affecting sarcoma treatment and care, and particularly what was happening on the ground, people's lived experience. So not just a kind of quantitative analysis of the situation, but to produce qualitative evidence. So, you know, people's experience themselves, actually what happened to them, not just if something went wrong. So we could build a kind of complete picture of sarcoma treatment. So how did we go about gathering that evidence? Well, we had an advisory group that kind of oversaw the evidence gathering process and the report itself, which was made up of half and half between people affected by sarcoma and healthcare professionals. And we invited people affected by sarcoma and healthcare professionals to then submit evidence. And we also interviewed them as well. And then I turned that into a report, which I think is on the table, on the tables there as well. It's about 30,000 words, so don't feel you need to read it all, but I'll give you the sort of cliff notes. And we had a fantastic response from people. We had more than 300 responses from people affected by sarcoma across all 4 nations in the UK, and more than 60 responses from healthcare professionals, academics, researchers, people like that. And that makes this, by some distance, I think, the largest qualitative study of its kind ever undertaken in relation to sarcoma. So the important thing then, I suppose, is what did we find from this huge and significant body of evidence? And I think it's worth pointing out that a lot of the people that submitted evidence, once they reached specialist care, were very grateful for the quality of the care that they received. But that being said, we found significant issues across the kind of treatment pathway for sarcoma, from issues with diagnosis or lack of diagnosis, all the way through to aftercare as well. And you can see some of the issues that are identified there, I think, covers a lot of the bases. But to give you an example of the kind of evidence that we had, I don't know if you can actually read that. Sorry, the colours are maybe a bit off. But in terms of the findings from diagnosis, there's 3 kind of quotes here from a consultant surgeon, a CNS, and a GP, all relating their own experience of how delays in diagnosis are affecting treatment and outcomes. But people also, crucially, as well as identifying issues, also provided recommendations and potential solutions. So, you possibly can see there, a consultant surgeon suggested that one of the issues facing people in relation to early diagnosis was a lack of kind of ultrasound or access to MRI in a community setting was holding up diagnosis. And that helped inform, with the advisory group, the recommendations that the report made. There are 16 recommendations in total. But again, just focusing on the early diagnosis point, we took that recommendation about having access to imagery and made that a recommendation to government, and also to kind of firm up a proper diagnostic pathway in legislation. But of course, you know, the idea is not to have these recommendations lying in the pamphlet and in the report that you have in front of you. The only way they'll make a difference is if government and the NHS are willing to engage with them and of course, crucially enact them. And so that's why when we launched the report in June, we launched it with a call for a review of sarcoma treatment and care in light of the findings that we had, the issues that we identified. And that review, the idea behind that review is with a view to government implementing the recommendations we've made. And I'm pleased to say we've had good progress. So we launched it in June. You may recognize some of the people there, but we're very lucky to have the Secretary of State for Health, Wes Streeting, who has engaged very closely with the report. Likewise, we took it to the Welsh Parliament as well, and the Northern Ireland Assembly. And I should say, in the interest of balance, we did try to do an event in the Scottish Parliament as well, but unfortunately it was cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances. But the government response overall to the report, I think, has been really positive so far. So you'll see, again, hopefully you can see that some of the quotes from relevant health ministers effectively endorsing the findings of the report, recognising the kind of issues and the difficulties that we've identified, and pledging to engage with those findings and look at implementing the recommendations. So I think that's really positive. But of course, that's not over yet. We're continuing to work with health ministers across the four nations in a positive and constructive way, but also willing to put pressure on them where necessary if we think they're dragging their heels to try and make these improvements that we've identified. And to that end, I think I'm very happy to take questions on the report itself. But I think it's really important, please read the report. It's available online as well as in the physical copy that you have. But it would be absolutely fantastic if people were willing to write to their MP and urge them to look at the report and urge them to support our call for a review and our engagement with government to support the recommendations.